In keeping with our gardening tour of northwestern Oklahoma and the Panhandle, we've decided to stop in at the USDA Southern Plains Range Research Station to look at the trees at this site. And here to tell us about the history is Jim Bradford. Welcome to our program.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Jim is a plant physiologist here at the research station. And Jim, I understand that these trees weren't always here. So what was the case before then?
That's true. The station was established in 1914, and at that time there was exactly one tree on the original 160 acres where the station was established. And the early research centered primarily on sorghum research, and small grains, and broom corn. And over the time, the people that lived here, although it wasn't their official duties, they became interested in identifying trees and shrubbery foundation type plantings that would grow here. And a lot of the trees that you see behind us, especially the really nice mature trees, resulted from those early plantings in the teens and the 20s and the 30s. Later on, it was official duties here that they did research plantings on windbreaks and shelter belts, and that started primarily in the 1930s and continued up to the mid-1960s.
Okay.
And so the trees are the results of either research or just personal interest in the researchers that were here over the years.
Okay, you don't really, I would think, a lot of people would think that Woodward would have such large trees, and I know I was really impressed just driving up to the station and seeing all these mature hackberries along this street.
Well, that's true. When Woodward was about a half a mile from the field station, when it was established, this was a dirt trail that led out to the station, and there was an interest in obviously just finding trees that would grow in this area. And one of the research plantings that was done was these nice rows of hackberry trees you see behind us here, and they were planted, I think, probably in the 30s.
Okay.
And Woodward has grown out to the field station and grown around it, in fact. But a lot of these nice big trees you see around here are the result of people's work that was done here many years ago.
Okay, so the town of Woodward was originally a ways away from the station.
Probably about a half a mile in general, and then these neighborhoods were built over time in the 50s and 60s primarily. Okay. And then now Woodward has grown all around the whole station here. Originally we had about 160 acres, I think, that was the original core of the field station, and over time other segments have been added, and they've got pretty large acreage in this area now.
Okay, so today what types of research is carried out here at the station?
Most of our research now is what we call range research. So it's development of plants and other things that ranchers would use for cattle, primarily for cattle grazing. We do work with grazing systems and on ecology of native rangelands primarily. We also do development of different varieties of grass, and we do some work on the genetics of both our native grass species here, and we have some work with some related work with corn that we're doing now.
Okay, well I think everybody's impressed with the tree plantings here because it seems to be such a historical collection of these large trees, and very important. You guys get a lot of tours.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, we get tours constantly. We have every place from third graders to college students, graduate students. We have ranchers tours, international tours that come in to look at our research. Primarily now it's related to our range research, but we have great interest still in the tree plantings here, and we have self-guided tour that people can do when they come here. And so we're very experienced at doing tours. So.
Okay, and the people that live in Woodward like to come out to this area.
It's really kind of one of the chief greenbelt areas in Woodward now. As I said, the town is growing around here, and we have a new walking trail that was put in through the grounds here, and we get on a good day we'll have hundreds of people probably that go through this area, taking advantage of the nice greenery that's in here and getting a little exercise too.
Okay, it just seems so unique that we have these large trees here in Woodward.
It's a nice little green island kind of in the middle of northwest Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, Jim, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll go take a look at that walking tour.
Okay, Steve.
Well, one of the persons on staff here that you may get a tour from if you come and visit the station is Mary Merrick. And Mary, can you tell me what exactly your title is?
Basically, Steve, I'm the service forester for northwestern Oklahoma, and I'm employed by the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food and Forestry Services. A lot of what I do is landowner assistance to the people in northwestern Oklahoma, including the Panhandle. I'm housed here at the research station, and the people at USDA have been very nice. And certainly I've learned a lot about the field station and its history, as well as its unusual trees.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you feel right at home with all these large trees around the station.
Definitely. When I came out to Woodward, I didn't expect to see such a wide variety of large trees, but certainly they're here, and it makes it a nice place to work.
All right. Well, you have in your hands there a brochure that anyone could pick up and tour the facilities?
Yes, basically this is just a self-guided tree tour of the facility, and it includes a map of the building and the main campus area. And here we can see different trees within the campus, and certainly trees of interest to us. On the back it lists the trees, their common and scientific names, as well as a little bit of history of the research station.
Okay. Well, right here, this large oak tree is definitely on the walking tour.
Yes, it's certainly impressive, and I would estimate that it was planted probably in the 20s. It's a beautiful specimen of a northern red oak.
Okay. It's just amazing to see a tree this large here in Woodward.
Yes, you don't expect it. And certainly it provides a lot of shade. It's right here by one of the main office buildings in the house. And certainly a beautiful tree to look at.
Okay, and I see there's a little metal tag that people walked up, they could read the name of the tree.
That's one way to identify some of the trees that are on the maps. They're listed with metal tags. And again, it gives the scientific and the common name.
Okay, so would you say this is probably the largest tree on the site?
Goodness, I would definitely say it's one of the largest.
Okay.
Here at the research station, there are at least 3 trees that are state champion trees.
Okay. Well, it certainly is impressive.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of these other trees. Well, Mary, this is certainly a lovely location here in town. I like the large trees kind of positioned with the older buildings, and just really enjoy these large specimens out here.
Definitely. Behind us, we've got a large American elm that was probably one of the first plantings. And just to the west is a large Lacebark Elm. And they've really been beautiful trees, and certainly we like to maintain them to the best of our ability.
Okay. That Lacebark is certainly a very mature specimen. Well, this is an interesting tree.
It definitely is, and it's one of my favorite here just because it's so unusual. This is a Lacebark Pine, and it's got very interesting bark on it, kind of a light green, a little bit platy, and it's just lovely. It's got really short needles and certainly is very showy, I think. I've never seen a Lacebark Pine, although in books I've looked at them and they seem to be well recommended for some urban areas. But it's done very well here. It's a little overshaded probably, but certainly it's one of my favorites.
It definitely has a similar bark pattern to the Lacebark Elm.
Definitely, yes.
It'd be really nice to see that in the industry.
I would love to see this as an ornamental in people's yards and gardens. It's just so pretty.
Okay, and it's been here for obviously several years.
Yes.
So would be a good tree. Well, Mary, this is certainly a large evergreen conifer we've got right here.
Definitely. We've got a very big Arizona cypress. And in fact, this particular tree is one of the state champion trees as far as its size goes. Woodward actually has 3 champion trees within the county, and all 3 of them are located here on the field station campus. But this tree is the largest Arizona cypress, and certainly it's of interest to me because it's evergreen. It gives color year-round. It's kind of got a nice bluish tint to it too. And we've had so many problems with other trees like eastern red cedar in the state that I would like to see this become more dominant.
Okay, it's a very tough tree, very
Definitely.
drought tolerant.
Drought tolerant, tough, and certainly it's done well out here in this harsh climate.
For many years.
Yes.
So the state champion trees are the biggest trees in the state of Oklahoma?
Basically, Oklahoma Forestry Services actually holds a register of champion trees across the state, and it's measured based on height and circumference as well as crown width. Basically, what a landowner can do is if they believe they have a champion tree on their property, they can give us a call and have one of the foresters come out and look at it and take some measurements, and we'll see if it's a champion.
Okay. Well, let's go take a look at another one of these
Definitely.
champion trees. This is a plant that I've usually seen as a large shrub, but here you guys have it as a huge multi-trunk tree.
Definitely, I'm in the same situation. The only time I've seen a Winterberry Euonymus like this is just as a shrub. But here we've got a really large tree. And again, this is one of the state champions as far as Winterberry Euonymus is concerned. So it's certainly impressive.
The largest Winterberry Euonymus in Oklahoma?
In the state, that's correct. And as far as those state trees go, you can get a copy of our register from Oklahoma Forestry Services if you contact the Department of Agriculture, Food and Forestry.
Okay. Well, Mary, in addition to the walking tour, I understand you guys have a trail?
Yes, we have a walking trail that basically bisects different fields at the research station, and it's become a heart of the community. It's interesting to see how many people are walking on the trail, and in fact they were walking on it before the trail was ever built, so that certainly created a need for something in there. Something that's interesting to me from an urban forestry standpoint is just the tie-in with people and the trees in a community, and how important that is to them, and certainly they're flocking to this area because of all the vegetation.
Those green areas.
Yes, it's certainly a wonderful green belt for the city, and like I said before, a great place to work.
Okay. Well, if you're ever in Woodward, come by and see the research station here, and we certainly appreciate your time, Mary.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for the tour.